Hello, peeps. We are back with a brand new episode. And this one I'm so excited about because it's going to be a twofer. We have decided that this conversation is so layered and so many things in it that it needs two podcasts. But today we're going to do the first one, which is the most important, with my dear friend Kelly Miller. I was trying to think. I've known Kelly for probably 6+ years now, and we've always stayed in contact through social media, but we have gotten to know each other better over this last year, and we'll get more into that. But I want to introduce Kelly. Before I do that, I do want to do a trigger warning because we are going to be talking about part of Kelly's story is her mother was murdered. And so we are going to be talking about crime and kind of that, not deep, but like just wanted to let you guys know it's a little bit more serious than most of the podcasts that we do, a little more deeper. So if that is something that's going to really like trigger you in a bad way, you might want to skip this episode and watch the second one, because we'll be talking about health and all kinds of things with that. So today I'm going to introduce Kelly Miller, is an author, health coach, marketing strategist, and lifelong believer that everything you want in life starts with your fork. She's the creator of Healthy Cooking 101 and the Eat, Dream, Do Guide, built from years of personal testing and teaching women how to make real food and healthy cooking fit into real life. After navigating breast cancer in her 40s, Kelly's belief that food is foundational became more than a philosophy. It became part of her toolkit for navigating life's hardest seasons, reinforcing the importance of how we feed ourselves, make room for ourselves, and keep going after what matters. Now she's bringing those words together through Our Rooted Kitchen. Can't wait for that. A new monthly mini cookbook subscription and community for busy women, solopreneurs, and business owners who are ready to put themselves back on the to-do list and feed themselves well. It's designed to help women put the food first mindset into action, building the energy and capacity to feel good in their bodies while creating lives they're excited to wake up to. Her philosophy is simple: eat first, then dream, then go do the dang thing. Simple, practical, and backed by science. Woo, Kelly.
That's a mouthful, and we can edit some of that down.
I love it.
How do I summarize this?
Yeah. How do I say eat and go do the dang thing? So I just want to welcome you in. It's been so many years since I've known you, and I never really knew your whole story until we started talking about it. And, second episode, we're going to talk more about my sourdough journey and how Kelly is my superstar because guys, it took me 6 years when everyone was doing the 2020 sourdough. I'm like, I can't do it. And then Kelly came along with this teeny tiny little book with tons of information. And she's like, girl, you can do this. Mm-hmm. Sent me her dry starter. And I was like, I don't know, Kelly. I don't think I can do this.
But you did.
But in between that whole thing, I started talking to her, and I don't know if you had told me, Kelly had been on a podcast that I was a co-host with, the 24 Karat Conversation. I think you said you had mentioned it. I don't remember hearing about it. I don't know. And so Kelly was telling me her story of what had happened to her as a baby and her mom. And so I thought, oh my gosh, this is so pertinent to the UnMothered community, because not only do we have unmothers because of moms who have been neglectful or abusive, but what happens when your mom passes when you're a baby, or in your case, your mom got murdered when you were 10 months old and you were in the house. Mm-hmm. And so that just really resonated with me because I thought you are an unmothered on another level of never knowing and still not knowing like what's happening with that. That whole case is still open and it's crazy. But I was just so impressed with how gentle spirited you are and just you have a piece about you that I really resonate with. And so I was like, I have to interview you. Like, I just need to know your story more. So the first question I have for you, first of
Sure.
all, welcome in.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. There's so much to talk about, and
I
I'm very
know.
good at talking over, so I'm politely waiting for you to
I had to
ask me a
learn that in
proper question.
podcasts. I was like, shut up, don't talk.
Don't talk.
Feel free.
ahead.
Anyway,
Sure.
as a baby, not knowing your mom and then discovering that she was murdered when you were just 10 months old, like, what is your first memory of a mother figure?
I don't have one.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like, how can you not? I mean, there's an insane void. I mean, she was taken during my formative years, and I later went on to be a psych major to learn about some of those developmental things. But and many women try to come in to that
Feel
role.
that.
But I think a stepmother or a step parent in general has got to be, or adopted parent has got to be, the hardest role on the planet.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to navigate that. So I don't have a bond with a woman. I don't have an older woman. I don't have someone that's like my go-to all the time. And it is just something that I grew up not having.
Wow.
I hate to say you don't know what you don't know, but I don't know
Exactly
what that means, good or
Yeah.
bad. I don't have that face, the presence, the connection. I don't have a tie to her.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And it would be hard to tie that onto someone else when you don't even know what that feels like or looks like. Yeah.
It's like not knowing the color blue. I don't know because I've never seen it.
Wow. Yeah. And I often talk about, like, in my coaching of finding good mama mentors, but your story is so unique because, there was just such a blatant cutoff of a mother figure. It's like, what is a mother figure to you? So I know on some level that has to be so isolating, because it's like,
Yeah, it's isolating. It's really kind of confusing more, probably because of the way she was taken, and because of the brutal act and everything that followed, and the small town corruption that's still going on. It'll be 48 years, 1 month from 2 days ago. Almost. We're almost to another anniversary. And it's just so difficult because women come into my life for different reasons, whether they were part of a relationship with my father, and then relationships are tough. So it's like that breaks. And then it's, how do they connect with me when he's so now territorial about me because of the way my mother was taken? So he did not want any connection with these women with me, or it was hard, and
interesting. Yeah.
the coping skills were not there. I mean, we're talking about 1978 that this happened. So through the 80s, the coping skills for him, for me, they just weren't there.
Yeah, no one talked about those things. And yeah, I can imagine the territorial hold of, like, don't get too close to my daughter, like being so overly protective of you.
So overly protective.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you, how old were you when you discovered that you lost your mom, and what were your feelings towards that?
Well, I knew she was not in the world. And my father told me she got sick and died. That's the end of the explanation that I had. Your mom got sick and died. So whenever one asked me, like, who's this woman in your life? Or, I'm like, no, that's my mom, but that's my stepmom. And my real mom got sick and died. And then I was playing on the floor. Remember, blue carpet. So it's funny that I said blue before. And this little boy said, I heard your mom got murdered. I think I was 8.
Oh my gosh.
And this is where some of the context of not just being an aware as a human, or it's this situation, like, I'm this young little girl. I don't know what I don't know. My father's trying to protect me. This little boy tells me that my mother was, in fact, killed, murdered. I don't remember his exact words. And then I was like, well, I understood what that word meant. So I went to my dad and I said, what does that mean? And, he had to sit me down and tell me, but he didn't tell me anything that is insane. He said, like, she was killed, she was taken from us. And as years went on, I found out about the method in our house, that I was in the crib, left. The kitchen knife was the weapon, like, just not forced entry, like all the things that were then taken from me as a little girl.
Yeah.
Made me scared of movies that all my teenage friends were watching. I was don't make me watch Freddy. Don't make me watch Jason. I can't handle this.
Yeah.
Scream. Never watched Scream. So I think I was 8. And what I was really impressed by was the parents of these little children my age were talking about this. So I then told my confidant, my little best friend at the time was my cousin, who's my age. And he said, yeah, my dad told me that. I knew. I said, you're the same age as me. Why do you know? He goes, I even saw the newspaper article. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm in the news?
Wow.
So my world at like between 8 on was blown up, because being an unsolved case and her taken the way it was, it's not just like, oh, you lost your mom and there's all those things, but it's like, now you're front page news of our small town.
Yeah.
You're part of so many different family battles. My parents were young, so they weren't not fit to deal with any of this. So,
So just a disclaimer, her parents, your mom was 21.
Yeah.
And your dad was 23. 22.
Something like that. 22. Yeah. Babies. Yeah. And the world was a very small place almost 50 years ago.
Yeah. So this was 1978. Yeah. So not a lot of investigative qualities there. No DNA stuff was being done. There wasn't, there was no CSI, none of that kind of stuff. And your mom was brutally murdered. And so, it's just a lot. It's funny you say 8 years old, because that was like impactful for my age too, when something impactful happened. And I feel like 8 years old is I look at my grandson now, who's going to be 9, and I'm like, oh, I just can't imagine our little brains trying to comprehend these big things and carrying the weight of that and not really knowing, or being able to go to someone with all of this stuff brewing in your body. And so I wanted to ask you, did you feel like you were the parent of your father, or do you feel like he was over parenting you, or how did that relationship go?
How would you define a parent?
Good question. Say a safe place.
I was his safe place.
Yeah.
And in many ways he was mine, but that relationship changed and evolved. And I know so much more. Like recently I put myself through the gamut or gambit or whatever the word is, of like trying to learn and put some words around it. We depended on each other in very weird ways.
Yeah. Not weird to you guys though. That was your dynamic.
That was our dynamic. But, through different relationship and family disputes, I was his sidekick. I was his one and only. And when I needed someone, he was mine. And then as I grew up, I was like, something's dysfunctional and something's wrong. And then he had his journey, because he was accused of this for 37 years of my life. And part of the whispers of our small community was he was a suspect. Maybe not 37, but a good 20 some years until he was lie detected and, kind of cleared of all that. But he lived with those whispers, which made our relationship so much more like delicate and insane. And
Yeah.
So so being a parent, I don't know. I'm sure I do have a daughter. I was a daughter as a young mom too, which is kind of wild that I was almost the same age as they were
So
when I had
crazy. I
my
know.
daughter.
Yeah.
But I think she probably parented me
Yeah.
more than I did him because she had the tools in
Yeah.
today's world with the accessibility to knowledge and therapy and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So
Thank God for therapy. Well, it's funny too when you're talking about that. It's like the things we study in our trauma groups is we talk about the triangulation of families and how each person plays a part, and it, all measure that. Like you take a role, and it's like you definitely had a role in this family, and you were like, the one pinpoint and shining star where everybody was like, we just got to like run around Kelly. Like everything has to run and
I was
protect
the
her.
good girl. I had to be
Yeah.
good. I had to get good grades because the
Yeah.
family couldn't have handled that. I had to.
If you went off the rails, then it's like, oh, yeah. Oh, man. A
So
lot of
getting
weight to
pregnant at
carry.
20 really threw the
Yeah.
wrench in the wheel. They're like, wait, what?
It's not the worst thing in the world, but oh my gosh. So that leads me to well, it's twofold. So how did this affect your adult relationships is the first thing I want to ask you. And then just being a young mom, I want to get into that a little bit. But how
Okay.
did you maneuver relationships?
I can't say I have a best female friend. I have a few. And if my best friend, who is my one true, like I go to her for everything. We've talked constantly over the years, whether it's email at work, you're not supposed to be emailing, you're emailing your bestie in the early 2000s. She knows me the best, but does she really know me? Like I never had I don't know, like we don't get emotional together, but she's been there through everything and she's 100% my best friend, but I've always had a little bit of distance. And in romantic relationships or other relationships, I loved adventure. I loved chaos and I loved being needed. And I would put myself in relationships that needed me. And when someone didn't want a chaotic life, I left. I was like, oh, you want to be normal and watch Netflix?
So
I don't want that.
Says every trauma-filled child.
I don't want that.
We want to run after the boyfriend. We don't want the one that shows up.
Yeah, that was a big switch that I had to figure out once my daughter left the nest and I was at my rock bottom. And the guy actually showed up and tried to teach me stability and calm and safety and all the things that I didn't have. That was that was a 40-year journey. So I'm happy he's here. And I'm not the easiest to get along with.
Same girl, same.
But I think I keep it interesting enough for him to stick around.
You're spicy. He likes it. So, so as a young mom yourself, what were your initial feelings towards being a mom without a mom's help?
Since I guess since I didn't know what having a mom was, and since I was always the good girl, go forward, just do, I just kind of strapped on that baggage backpack and carried my baby, and we just did it.
Bypassed the whole emotional.
Bypassed it.
Like, just gotta go. Trudge through.
I did have a couple good women in my life at the time who were matriarchs and had families. So I had people that, hey, she's constipated. What do I do? Hey, can you watch her? And that I'm super thankful for. As she got older and I had a little bit more need of the mother-daughter relationship, and since I was the first one of all my friends to have a baby, that's when I really was like, what is going on? And that's when I turned to food, and we'll pick that up in the next one. But I wanted to learn, record, and teach her what I didn't get. So even to this day, she'll send me a message. She'll say, hey, how do I make this? She goes, I know I could Google it, but like, can you tell me? Or what's the most in-season vegetables right now for the farmer's market, Mom? That's really easy, Ray. You can, but she's like, but I'd rather hear it from you. And I love being that person.
That's beautiful.
So I didn't have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to write a book about pregnancy, what
Yeah.
to eat when you're expecting. That
Yeah.
dream has faded
Yeah.
because now it's so far removed. I don't remember 27
And
years
it's
ago.
changed, girl. It's changed.
Exactly.
I'm like raising a grandchild going, you do what now? You don't do this anymore? They're like, oh no, we don't do. I'm like, I have no clue. Just tell me what to do. I don't know.
Yeah. And so
It's so
that's
different.
kind of what changed. You know, I wanted to
Yeah.
document, learn, and absorb. And looking back, thinking about what I do remember the most, it's the stuff that
Yeah.
she's going to need
Yeah.
if and when she procreates.
I love that. And I think one of the most beautiful things too is when we don't have moms that we can rely on. To me, one of the most beautiful things is when your kids grow up and they go, "Hey, mom, I need your advice." And you're like, oh. I always tell people, like, when the girls would call and say, "I need you," or "I need this advice," like my heart would burst open. And then I'd have a little rip of like, I never got that, but I can give that to them, but there's like a little sadness attached to it of like, what does that feel like? Cause I've never had a mom. I could pick up a phone and go, "Hey, I need your advice." Nope, that's not my story. But it's
So
just
true.
so beautiful when you can like bring that full circle around and be like, well, I don't have that, but I can bring that to them. And then hopefully they can bring that to the next generation. And so,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. When I realized that this was something I could stop this generation, and even though I was not a mothered mother and I don't know what I'm doing and the family that I have, I'm just like, well, this what feels right. And I learned to trust my intuition through all of that.
Love. Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. Okay. Oh my gosh, I could talk to you forever. We are going to do a part 2 on health, food, cancer, and emotions. So if you could give like a small little nugget of advice to give someone on starting a health journey, let's just tease them with that right now. And then we'll learn more in the second one.
Life is wild, in all the crazy ways. And if you don't have a toolbox that helps build that foundation, your body's going to react in wild ways.
Oh my gosh, that's good. That's really good. It's so true. Yeah. People tend to ignore feelings and emotions and what your body is going through. It's like you said earlier, well, I just had to do it. I just had to trudge through it. But yet your body is settling into this, like something's not right. It doesn't feel good, but we just have to ignore that right now and bypass it so that we can move on and do life. Right. And that works for a while. And I think that will lead us into part 2 because it worked for you for a while and then you got sick. And so I think it's going to be even more amazing than this episode.
This will be fun. I mean, it will be great. I think it'll be great. And if I were to leave with any words, and anyone that loses their mom or has a traumatic thing like this, it would be to talk about it sooner.
I love that, Kelly.
I was not in a safe space as a kid because of what happened. Therapy was not as easy. Therapists that I did talk to as a kid were not helpful. I just cried and I did what they wanted. I was very performative.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'll show remorse. Yeah, I'll show you that I'm sad. I don't know. It was just it was sad. I remember like outer body experience going, what am I doing right now?
Yeah.
But I would say talk about it. Talk and allow it to be an open conversation, because that's what I held in for way too long. And now it's opening up. And now I can have these conversations and figure out my why and where it's going and why it's going there. So
oh my
thank
gosh,
you for having
that's a nugget right there. Yeah. And I love that, Kelly, because I think too, like there are therapists and then there are trauma therapists. So I would say if you're going through something like this or something that's highly abusive, you need to find someone who's skilled in trauma therapy, because that's exactly what it is you got to dig back through and really like talk about all the things and cry that out. And also I'm a huge fan of journaling. Thoughts will come in your mind and you try to like push them away or shove them down, write them out. And just like, for me, I just ask God, like, what does this mean? Like, I don't what's going on? Like, why am I feeling this way? And also I'll say, like, bring someone in my life that can like help me understand or something. And it's amazing how when you start asking for the things that you need, like, you will be surrounded, and it will come in weird ways, like just like you and I, like it just comes in these places where you're like, I wasn't expecting that, but it's so good. And so thank you so much for sharing this. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna let everyone know your health coach Kel with a Kel,
one L,
at Gmail, or is it .com for your website?
Websites, healthcoachkel.com. And then Health Coach Kel on all the other platforms.
And all the other platforms, all her social media. So please, if you don't get to the next one, I want to make sure that we, tag you on this one and make sure that you check out her website. Guys, check out her website. She has such good stuff on there. And if you're interested in eating, really good food and natural stuff and just learning good information, Kelly is your girl. And until next time, we will see you next time. But thank you so much, peeps, for being a part of this. And we will see you later.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.